Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Atomic Mass Games is officially going to be starting their Star Wars news and announcements on February 3rd at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that is got a lot of people wondering what is going on. What are they going to talk about? We're going to talk about that today. Also, if you're new here, let me remind you there's a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway going on right now. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. I usually do the announcements for those towards the end of my videos, and I pick a winner about every 2 weeks or so, and there's always giveaways running. So if you don't win one, maybe you'll win the next one. Just keep on entering. Okay, so Atomic Mass Games is taking over X-Wing, Armada, and Legion. And during a stream a few days ago, they actually leaked that they would be doing a full Star Wars transmission on February 3rd. And this is going to be actually on a Wednesday. A lot of people are wondering what they're going to talk about. Are they going to be, dumping a boatload of new content on us? And I kind of want to manage expectations for that. Also, if you don't have access to their Twitch channel, which is where they do their primary communications, I will be doing a kind of watch-along party on YouTube, so you can... you can hop onto my YouTube channel and watch the stream. We'll be talking about it beforehand. Then we, of course, will turn me off and, show them. And then as soon as they're over, we'll be talking some more. So if you want to watch on YouTube, if for whatever reason you can't or don't use Twitch, I will be here for that. So we'll be having a big old party. And if you prefer to watch on their Twitch, you can do that too. And if you want to do both, you can do that. You can go back and forth, whatever, have two tabs open, whatever you want to do. I'm just here to give, as much access to this information as possible. So I think it's important to manage expectations right now, because I think there are a lot of people that are expecting a big information dump, and I think that can set you up for some failure. I think that can set you up for some disappointment, and I want to kind of manage that for a lot of people, because nobody likes to be disappointed. I don't like to be disappointed. There's also some people that think they're not going to give us really any information. And I think that might be underselling it a little bit. I think they'll give us some information. And I think that's really where the answer lies. So I'm going to talk about each of the games and what I think they're going to talk about. But most of all, what I do think they're going to talk about is the process. I think, at least for, their streams tend to run for about an hour-ish. So I think for the majority of, maybe at least the first half hour, maybe even the first 45 minutes or so, I would expect a lot of that to involve what they can tell us about the process. Obviously, they're not going to talk about business and behind-the-scenes stuff very much. There's a lot of limits to what they can and cannot discuss there. But I think they're going to talk about a little bit about the process. I imagine if Simone Elliott is involved, who is the new head of studio over at Atomic Mass Games, she may talk about her experience with licensing and parts that carry over. I'm not sure how much questions from the audience they'll actually be able to take, because a lot of people ask pretty hard-hitting questions that really can't be answered quite so blatantly. A lot of that is due to timelines and licensing agreements and just general business practice. So, they're not. Somebody's always going to be like, what's the release date for everything that's coming out for the next year, and what are the names of the expansions, and when are you doing an AT-AT in Legion? When are you doing, a Star Destroyer and X-Wing, and all kinds of crazy things like that. People always like to ask, unanswerable questions. So I do think they're going to talk a lot about the process. I think they're going to talk about, how things have been going. Obviously, it will be painted in probably as positive a light as they can. And that's a good thing. I'm interested to hear if there's been any significant new challenges or any particular good news, like how the transition's going. If there's been any big delays, if, for example, if they are at a point where they say, hey, look, realistically, we can't have any new Star Wars products out for at least a year and a half or something like that, this would be the time that they kind of communicate something like that. They may say, hey, look, starting all over again and moving to a new studio is kind of, caused us to have to start everything over, so don't expect anything for a long time. That's something they might say. On the other hand, they may kind of give us at least an estimate of a timeline of when to start to expect more official news from them. I don't know if this is going to be a weekly show or if this is just going to be a on demand, like when it's needed and when the information is ready sort of show. That's certainly how Fantasy Flight has always done it. the show's ready when the show's ready. And that's fine. One of the things Atomic Mass does on their Twitch channel is they don't always have to have Twitch streams of breaking news. They'll be painting a miniature. They'll paint a mini for an hour. Sometimes they won't, sometimes they really won't finish that mini in that hour. They'll do like half of a mini, or they'll do like the base coats and stuff like that. And then they'll come back, a week later and come back to that mini and then work on the highlights. And then just kind of casually talk to people in the chat, which is pretty cool. That's kind of the part of the ethos over there, is just a lot more communication. Still, having communication is good, even if you can't answer the hard-hitting questions. Being able to just, answer some questions, even if it's like hey, how you doing? How are things? Are you excited about upcoming things? At least that bare minimum of communication is really nice, and I think it helps the player base. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Other things they may talk about is they may talk about some of the personnel. I'm curious if they're going to talk about who some of the teams are, who are on the teams for different games. We know that Luke Eddy made the transfer over for Star Wars Legion, so that is certainly a big sigh of relief after losing Alex Davey, who was basically the other half of the dev team and really the brainchild behind Legion. So that much is, at least we were able to kind of bring over half the team, but the other games not so much. I'm really curious on as far as specific content developers. I know certain managerial positions, a lot of other personnel were able to move over, and so and I don't want to speak for other people that haven't necessarily made things public yet, but I wonder if that'll be a good time to announce who the new team is and introduce everybody more officially to the Star Wars team or the Star Wars side of Atomic Mass Games. On to specific games. I think for X-Wing, if they do tease anything, I think one of the big things that they'll talk about is the Aces packs. I think those, you kind of have to talk about those. Those are obviously already in production, already in the shipment phase or something along those lines. They're probably already on the boat right now, because I believe they're supposed to come out in March, so they probably need to be on the boat already if they're going to make that date. But there's 3 more Aces packs. Sky Strike Academy, the Phoenix Squadron, and then the Scum and Villainy version. Fugitives and Collaborators, I think, is the name of the 3, and we know that from the Lion Rampant leaks. I'm curious. I don't think they'll talk about the Lion Rampant stuff, because that's kind of part of the business side of the house that I don't think they'll talk about. But I think they'll announce those a little bit more officially. They might even give us maybe a look at some of the box art or something like that. There's a chance we might even get a little preview of them. At a bare minimum, I think if they do talk about them at all, we'll at least know what ships are included in them. Now, this particular update, too, I'm showing a Facebook screen share of it. Fantasy Flight also shared the same update, so which is nice that they, both, they're kind of, I view this as kind of the handoff right now that they're giving. So it's nice to see these different studios working together. A lot of the same people, were on one and moved to the other too. So it's really, I don't even really view it as 2 different studios. It's more like one family's moving into a new house. Right? Like that's, at least part of a family, right? Some of the family got fired, but the family that didn't get fired is moving into a new house. So I think that's really all we'll see for X-Wing. They may talk a little bit about certain other things that are outstanding for X-Wing if they want. It really depends on how much more information they want to go into, because there's still some outstanding things I think that could be addressed, like some of the expansions that were kind of canceled like the week before release date, like the 2nd edition Imperial Raider or the Saw's Renegades or the TIE Reaper. The 2.0 versions of all of those, they never released because, well, we still have 1.0 version. So I wonder if they'll talk about that. Maybe those are actually going to come out. I mean, if they've got them sitting in a warehouse, it might be a good opportunity to say, hey, we need something to fill in the 9-month gap or however long the gap is going to be between new product. So we can maybe release these. And some people will probably be flock to buy them. Raiders are cool. I mean, and they may have a lot on their web store, but a lot of physical stores don't have them, and a lot of physical stores probably don't want to order 1.0 product. A lot of people are thinking, I don't want to buy old product, even and just not realizing that it's compatible with 2.0. While you and I might know that a lot of people walking into a store are probably a lot more comfortable buying something where the packaging matches the current release, right? So that could be something that they might do. I don't know if they'll talk about that. The future of re-releases. They may talk about like plans for the future of these games. They might talk about the plan for X-Wing if they're. I know a lot of people are probably asking like, are you guys going to make a third edition or something like that? If there's enough questions along those lines, they may address that. I don't think they'll make a third edition, but I do have some ideas on ways that if they wanted to make some changes to X-Wing, things that I'd like to see, but I think I'll save that for another video. Onto Armada. I think Armada will have a lot of screen time because Armada's got a whole new wave getting ready to come out February 19th. So that's coming out soon, and that's those 4 ships that I originally thought they were splitting that wave into 2, and I don't know if there's any truth to that or if that decision is final or not, or really what's going on. I have heard from a lot of people that their retailers have confirmed they're getting all 4 ships in less than a month, and these things haven't even been announced yet officially. So like I think they're going to talk a lot about Armada and give some, more official preview type of discussion for these new ships that are coming out. Because they've got to. I can't think of any other reason why they don't have at least a pre-order option for these ships yet. I want to see the box art at least on the Asmodee pre-order page. Like, what are they waiting for? I think this is probably what they're waiting for. So that's certainly a thing. I don't know if they'll announce anything else because announcing a whole wave of 4 new ships is certainly a big deal. I'd love to know who the new teams are for both X-Wing and Armada. Like if who all is going to be, if they've hired anybody yet, and if it's anybody who's worked on them before, or what the people's experience is, and things like that. I think it'd be a good opportunity to get to know the people who are going to be working on some of this stuff, and what their plans are, what their timeline is for getting new waves into our hands. I'm really interested in that because hey, Armada just had a Clone Wars release, and we've got brand new factions that really need to get caught up and brought up to speed. And also, by the way, by the time those factions are brought up to speed, Rebel and Imperial players are going to be like, how many years without new products, right? The Rebels have only had 1 new ship in the last 2.5 years or so. So like Rebel players are going to be like foaming at the mouth, literally. At least the Empire got a Super Star Destroyer in like the one like Dead Space year timeline. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done for Armada, and I've got lots of ideas, guys. So if you're Atomic Mass Games and you're watching, check some of my Armada videos. I got lots of suggestions on things that you could do. All right, in Legion. I wouldn't be surprised to see Luke Eddy involved in the stream to talk a little bit about Legion. I think this is the time that they will go into kind of talking about the things that are getting ready to come out. We have specialist packs that are coming out in February, not too long after this video, about 2 weeks after this video comes out. But I think he can also talk a little bit more maybe about Lando and Callus, since those have been officially announced and do have some articles that are showcasing them a little bit. I think that's fair game and very easy to talk about product that's already announced and is already coming out and is already up for pre-order. But also I do think they'll go for it and officially announce the AA-5 speeder tank and that LAT LE transport, that gunship, the helicopter. It's not a LAT from the Clone Wars. It's the Imperial LAT, the Imperial patrol gunship or whatever. It's got like 3 or 4 different names. So, it'd be really interesting to see what we end up calling it over time, because I don't think a lot of people will want to call it a LAT. But those are the 2 new heavies that are coming from the Rebels and the Empire for Legion, and we know about those through their leaks on Lion Rampant. And so, it'd be really interesting to kind of get at least an overview of what role they're going to play. Why do we need more transports? What's so good about them? That's kind of my question. And I don't say that antagonistically. I say that as opportunistically. Like, sell me on this product, because I would love to know what is going to be the real draw here for what will undoubtedly be like a $50 or more expansion. Like the large vehicles, the heavies tend to be expensive. They're big. There's a lot of plastic. They're usually very attractive looking. They're really nice looking. So you're gonna probably have to sell some people. A lot of people already have 2 ATSTs or an ATST and a tank. They can't take 3 heavies. So like, what's the incentive to get a 3rd unit? that your army might not need, right? So like that's one of my big questions about that. So hopefully if they do announce those, while I don't know if they'll show us too many cards or too many spoilers from those expansions, I'd love to kind of get that general overview. And maybe I can arrange another interview with Luke Eddy to talk about those at some point. That would be pretty cool. And you guys, let me know in the comments if you think that'd be kind of a cool thing to talk about, because I'd love to get some more interviews going. Atomic Mass Games, hint, hint, love to get some more interviews going. Bing, bing, bing. So, bing, bing, bing. I don't know. I'm just making up things now. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that's the big three. There's always the chance that they could talk a little bit more about the possibility of future games too. I'm curious what their mindset is for that. Do they want to make more games? Do they have the manpower? Do they have the personnel on staff? Do they have the staff power enough to make more games than the 3 big, super popular lines that they have just inherited? Do they have enough to handle those and start working on more? I think that's an interesting question, and if they do start working on more, are they exclusively looking at the idea of expandable games, or are they looking at the possibility of standalone games that just happen to have miniatures? You look at something like Outer Rim or Rebellion is probably a better example, because Outer Rim doesn't actually have miniatures, although it probably could have at some point. Maybe they should do a collector's edition Outer Rim that has miniatures. What? Is that a good idea or what? I know a lot of people who love a game will, mod their own games and add minis to them. But I mean, Rebellion's a great option of a great example of a fantastic, super awesome board game that happens to have a lot of miniatures in it. So I wonder if they would, be interested in doing board games like that, which can be a lot of fun. I really love board games with miniatures, as you probably know if you watch my channel for a long time. So these are some of the questions I have, things that I kind of expect them to talk about, more about the general roadmap for the future rather than too many specifics. But if they do go into specifics, I think they'll talk about the things that we kind of already know. I don't expect them to announce anything, any specific products beyond that. I don't expect anything from The Mandalorian to be announced. But then again, it's possible. We know that they have been working on stuff from The Mandalorian. We know that stuff has at least been in the thought process and in the developmental process. We don't know where it is. It certainly hasn't leaked on Lion Rampant yet, so we don't know that. But it's possible. I think they've already got some things that they can talk about. So I don't think they need to kind of push the envelope even farther. But a lot of that really depends on how staffing is going, how they feel about their ability to kind of handle the workload. Because I think there's a very steep workload ahead for Atomic Mass Games, and I don't think it's a task to be taken lightly. But fortunately, a lot of the people that have made the transition over there are already familiar with the workload and everything that goes along with trying to meet that demand and deal with all the problems of shipping, manufacturing, customer support, or lack thereof. Sometimes, I've heard horror stories from people and also great stories from people. I've had fantastic customer support from Asmodee in the past, and hopefully, all of that stuff is good in the future. I mean, I think 2021 is not 2020 anymore. So hopefully we'll get some really good news here on February 3rd. All right, you guys, that's all I've got for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you check out more videos. I'm going to put some links at the end of the video. Check out the links in the video description as well. Click down there, or if you're on mobile, I think it's going to be down over here to click that see more. Lots of links. You can get masks. You can get either merch store. You can buy some stuff if you want to support the channel that way. You can hop on Patreon and support the channel that way. You can definitely check out my Discord and get a lot of community in there. We've got a lot of different channels for different games. Whatever you're into, we have something in there that you can talk with other people who have similar interests in Discord as well. And you can also check out my website, Crabbok.com, where we've got lots of links and a lot of resources, free expansions, and all kinds of cool stuff for you guys over on Crabbok.com. So check it all out. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing, and I couldn't do this without your continued support. So thank you so much for keeping the channel afloat, and thank you guys, and as always, have a great day.